After that stunning win by the New York Jets in blowout fashion, it's time to look at the playoffs, the playoff picture. Oh, yeah. Let's do it here on a Monday. We're Jet fans. Let's get crazy.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor?
But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby. For me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Weston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com, and I've been waiting to say this for a while. Victory Monday. Yes. 5-game losing streak. I forgot what wins felt like. Juicy. And not only wins, they opened up a can of ass whooping on the Houston Texans, a team that was firmly in the playoff mix and still is. We'll get into that here on the show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video program. There's also an audio-only version, if you guys prefer, of this show. Simply search for Boy Green Daily, wherever you find your podcast. But we're here on a Monday, so let's bring them in. My weekly guest, Italy Jet, joins us here on the show. What's up, Italy?
This scene drives me insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we're out and then they bring it back in. Out, bring it back in. What's next? I mean, great win. Great for Zach Wilson. Great for the team. Great for Hackett. I mean, they went out and literally let it rip. And even when Zach Wilson even said to DJ Reed in the locker room, and even DJ Reed has commented on like, what are they going to do? Bench me?
Oh, I love that.
It's so funny. It was so great. And I think also it was really, really cool to see his press conference, seeing him grow with all the press conferences that he's done. I mean, last year was a disaster when he did press conferences. This year, he stepped it up big time, and he's looked pretty awesome. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. You all have your free agencies that you love, but the best free agent has got to be DJ Reed that we picked up in a long time. The second one's got to be Conklin. It's got to be Conklin. And third, and Jefferson for me. I think Jefferson is the third one after that for me as of this year. So I think overall this has been it's nice to see 30 points through over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's like we saw a different Zach Wilson. And I know the Texans had a lot of injuries. I mean, they lost Dell, they lost Schultz.
Nico Collins got hurt during the game.
Collins, that's right, yeah. And I mean, Breece Hall went off, Cook did a little bit. And I think overall, Quinn Williams, like the pressures that they've been doing, and they've been really been pressing that Ashton Davis. He just balls. Everyone's seen one Jets drive. They're super excited about him again. It was a very great team win, 30 points. It's kind of like, how did we even – I don't even know what that felt like 5 weeks ago. And now, here we are.
That's for sure. We'll get into a lot of things here. First off, good morning to my beautiful mother, Michelle Anthony Eston. Top of the morning to you, Mom. Thanks for tuning into the show.
How you doing?
Very nice. Thank you. And I do want to show you guys that quote because I laughed out loud and I said, I have to tweet this. So Italy just mentioned it. So here's the situation. DJ Reed revealed what Zach Wilson's message was to him individually, but to the team in general, like when he was coming back this week. Here's the quote. I'm throwing it up on the screen, and I'll explain it to our audio-only listeners. Jets cornerback DJ Reed, he was talking to Rich Cimini.
Right.
Quote, and he told me, he's talking about Zach Wilson, I'm playing for y'all. I have nothing to lose, he said. What's the worst that can happen? I get benched again? That's what he said, and that's the way he played. It showed. That is friggin' hilarious.
I
And
love it.
what an awareness moment to say, like it's been tough for Zach. Obviously, there was a
Yeah.
report that came out that said he was reluctant to play. There was another
Right.
report that came out that said he was already informed that he's going to be traded this offseason. So, like, this is do or die. There's nothing to
Right.
happen here, according to those reports. He was benched, obviously, a couple weeks before that. And for him to have the awareness just to go, what are they going to do? Bench me again? I got nothing to lose here. So, like, that mentality is phenomenal and hilarious. And
Yeah.
obviously he played like it. So it was one of the best games of his career. You could argue the best game of his
Best
career.
game.
That was his third 300-yard passing performance in his career, but the first time that he's done it, in a win. The other two, Lions loss, painful fourth down conversion. We remember that one for Detroit. And then a New England game where through 355, the career high, but it felt very different. This one were chunky, great plays in the momentum of a win, which ended up sprouting to a blowout win, which, like I said, really revs the engine from that perspective. So that part to me was incredibly exciting. So I want to mention this because we're about
Okay.
to get into the playoff chatter, but we had been doing a Tankathon update. Now,
Right.
for the Tankathon people in our audience, if the Jets would have lost, they would hold the 4th overall pick today based on strength of schedule tiebreakers. So right now, the Jets hold the 8th overall pick. Actually, nothing else would have affected it from Sunday Night Football after the Cowboys blew out the Eagles. So anywho, they hold the 8th overall pick right now. Actually, let me just in case, I'm not talking out of my hoo-ha here, let me make sure that we have it correct for Tankathon order. Just want to make sure the Jets still are. Oh, yeah, actually, they dropped down to 9. Strength of schedule adjustment. The Raiders popped up in front of them. So 9. Okay. That's fine. But the point is that I don't care about any of that. That's the point. That I think what's more important for this team than
Yeah.
losing out potentially, because again, to maintain the 4th overall pick thing we were talking about, they would have had to lose out, and that would have been a 10-game losing streak for this team. I prefer what just happened, the vibe increase. You have Aaron Rodgers next year. You have all of this other juice. And to win games and not be mired in mediocrity and be answering those questions, because those are the questions if the Jets lose 10 in a row. The question is, oh boy, man, what a disaster. Should people be fired? Like, that doesn't happen if you end on a mini winning streak here. If you flip things around and run the table. And if the Jets did, they could be 9-8. So a losing season is not guaranteed. Now, that will be incredibly difficult, but it's possible, which takes us to the playoff picture. Let's put it up. Let's put it up on the screen. Let's get crazy. Let's get wild. This is from ESPN, the NFL playoff picture. So here it is. Okay.
Okay.
For the Jets' sake, all we're going to pay attention to is the wild card here, which starts with the 5th seed, the Cleveland Browns, who are 8-5. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 7-6, the Indianapolis Colts at 7-6, and with the Jets win, they kick the Houston Texans outside the playoffs right now. So you have the Texans at 7-6, the Broncos at 7-6, the Bengals at 7-6, the Buffalo Bills at 7-6, who somehow won that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then you have two teams in front of them that have the head-to-head tiebreaker, the LA Charger at 5-8 and the Raiders at 5-8. Then you have the Jets at 5-8. They're the 14th seed. There are only 7 seeds to go. Here's why I'm feeling a little froggy. Okay, I'm feeling a little froggy. The Jets have the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Houston Texans. They're only 2 games back of the playoffs. Now, there's a lot of teams that are tied for 7-6, but they have the head-to-head against Houston, and they have the head-to-head against Denver. Also, for those who don't know, so first tiebreakers head-to-head. Did they play at all this season? And if they did, whoever won in against one another are above the other if the record is tied. The other is conference record. Now, that's a very important record. That is how you have performed in the AFC. Now, when we look at the playoff teams, Cleveland is phenomenal in the AFC. They're 6-3, although the Jets, again, will have their opportunity against Cleveland in a couple of weeks. Pittsburgh, 5-4. Colts, 5-4. But then we start getting into funky territory where it's not as good. Texans are 4-4. The Broncos are 4-5. The Bengals are 3-6. The Bills are 4-5. And then you have Chargers 3-5, Raiders 3-5, Jets 3-6. So the Jets obviously have not done well in overall wins, obviously with only 5, but conference record they have done very poorly at 3-6. However, the Chargers, Justin Herbert's injured. not known timetable. The Raiders stink. The Buffalo Bills are decent, but they have an incredibly difficult schedule. So I'm looking at this, and I don't know about you, Italy, but I'm starting to believe. I'm starting to drink the juice of a possibility of the Jets going to the gosh darn playoffs and winning this thing out, and maybe Aaron Rodgers coming back at some point on the ride too. Thoughts?
It. Hey, I love your enthusiasm. And you know me, I'm a half class full guy. I see positives and negatives. I think for me, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens this weekend. I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
where
That's a good
that's where
test. The Dolphins.
yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to enjoy Victory Monday. I know you are too. I know how
Of
pumped
course.
you are too. But
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things. I just want to see what happens with the Dolphins game, and then maybe I'll start believing a little bit more. But I do agree with you, and we have talked about this. This game was important for the team.
Mhm.
This was important for the team because of the
Yes.
social media stuff with the Athletic, the stuff inside the Jets organization being leaked everywhere. What Zach Wilson did, the press conferences, the team, they all rallied together. Like they all look like miserable the last 5 weeks. If this is the start of something great, I think you got to look ahead at the Dolphins and be like, hey, if we can win against them, okay, this could not only save our season, but this could turn around a little bit where this could even go into next season, even being positive. So, and if Zach can play like that a lot of the time, I mean, you're going to get more believers than ever before because the AFC is weird right now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Very
Like
weird.
it's every single week it's weird. So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Okay. So I'm pulling off every schedule of every team in front of us. Let's break it all down. Let's get into
break
it.
down. Let's break it
Okay,
down.
let's go. Okay. We're going to go piece by piece. I have 400 tabs open. So here we go. Okay. Here, let me get my reading glasses out. Okay. So the Buffalo Bills have, so all these teams obviously have 4 games left. They play the Dallas Cowboys next week. That's a massive L. The Bills are going to lose that game. They play at the Chargers. Unfortunately, it probably looks like with Herbert's broken finger, that's going to be an easy one for the Bills. They get that. I'll give them that. New England, they beat them the first time. They're a little froggy, but the Bills probably win that one too. So, but they could lose to the Dolphins. There's a chance that the Dolphins are playing for the 1 seed. So they could go 2-2 in this stretch. And like I said, getting back to the main picture, the Bills are 7-6. So they go to 9-8, which again is where the Jets want to go. So Bills 9-8. That could happen. All right, let's go to the next one here. Let's go to the Raiders. Okay. They got 4 games left. They play the Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Broncos. Done. Throw them out. The Raiders are toast. They ain't winning enough. They're 5-8. So remember, they have to basically win out just like the Jets. Let's go to the Chargers. Bills, Broncos, Chiefs. Done. Trash. All right, we've already thrown a couple of teams out. This is phenomenal. Chargers eliminated. Raiders eliminated. All right, let's go to the Bengals. What do the Bengals got? Okay, they got Vikings, Pittsburgh, Chiefs, Browns. This Kenny Pickett situation, how long he'd last. The Vikings are terrible. How the Vikings won over the weekend?
And then with
3-0.
Trubisky too. And with Trubisky too, yeah.
Boy. So they'll lose the Chiefs one for sure. But we need them to lose 2 to get this 9-8 record. As I said, that'll be más importante. So can Cleveland or Pittsburgh get them? I'll say yes. They're 9-8 too. So throw them in the garbage. Okay, let's go to Denver. Let's go to Denver. What do we got with the Denver Broncos? Okay, they got the Lions, Patriots, Chargers, Raiders. So the Lions, I think, will give it to them. That's a primetime game too. God, New England, Chargers, Raiders, Jesus, they could win all those. So maybe they get a spot. But we have the head-to-head tiebreaker, so I really hope that comes in handy. But it looks pretty favorable for Denver, I will say, with these final 3, especially beating the Chargers already once. Okay, let's put them aside. All right, let's go to Houston. Tennessee, Cleveland, Tennessee, Indy, Jesus. But C.J. Stroud's hurt, concussion protocol.
Yeah,
so
concussion protocol, right.
TBD.
And Dell and Schultz are still injured too with Collins, so you never know what that's going to do.
That's true. So that one's a toss-up too. Again, there's 3 playoff spots, so we could play a little funky. So Denver might get one. Houston could get one here, but let's keep going. Let's look at Indy. You got Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Raiders, Texans. Jesus. All right, let's see here. So, well, they're at 7. So All right, we need some help there. There's just no question about it. We need a little bit of help. They play some crap in the final 4 weeks. Ooh, yeah. Pittsburgh, Audi. They play Baltimore and at Seattle the final 2 weeks, plus Indy coming up this weekend. Pittsburgh, you're out. Get your ass out of here, Steel City. Sorry, you trash-ass team. They're out. All right, let's go to the Browns. All right, the Jets play them. That helps. But the Browns are already at, well, what do we got here? Browns are already at 8 wins. Gosh darn, Joe Flacco, Jets legend, is in there. And then they play the Bears.
I can't believe that.
Oh,
That's
my God.
hilarious.
Yeah, and
That's
he's the starter
hilarious.
for the rest of the season. They announced that. So they have the Bears. They should win that. At Texans, they could win that depending on the Stroud thing. They play the Jets and the Bengals. So yeah, the Browns have a spot. It's just going to be the Bears, man. They're going to find a way to get a spot. So they have one of those spots. So, okay, we're going to give one of the spots to the Browns. Indy right now is setting up where they could have one of the spots as well, which would leave one last spot between the Jets, Houston, Denver, and Buffalo. Oof. Long story short, it's going to be one of those years that's kind of like 2009, not 2010, but 2009, where you needed a Jets rooting guide on a week-to-week basis of you need this team to beat this. That's what happens when you put yourself in this hole where I have to scroll to find you on the in the hunt graphic at 5 and 8. Like you're gonna need some help. You're gonna need a little bit of the great Lord above and handling your own business, which is the main ingredient of this recipe. So boy. But I have confidence in this team. I have confidence in Zach Wilson because if he has that mentality that he talked about with DJ Reed, that quote we already gave.
Right.
What are they going to do? Bench me again? And by the way, they won't, according to Salah. They're riding this out for the rest of the season.
Right.
This is not only an audition for Zach Wilson. We could talk about that separately.
Yes.
But this is an audition for 31 other teams, potentially to either trade or sign Zach Wilson this offseason. But let's get into that part real quick. So we talked about the playoffs, guys. That's the updated playoff picture. Again, long story short, Jets need to win out, and they need a lot of help. But as I said, I believe that the Jets could be competing with, 3 other teams for the same spot. And the good news is they have the head-to-head against Houston. So if they tie, they're in. They have the head against Denver. Tie, they're in. Buffalo, we'll have to see who they lose to, because if they lose to the Cowboys, it doesn't help as much because it's not a conference loss. So there's going to be some nitpicking from that perspective. But Houston and Denver, you feel good about with the head-to-head. And obviously you have to win out to beat Cleveland, but I don't know if you catch Cleveland because they're already at 8 wins, so they need less to secure their spot. So not sure how that one will help from a head-to-head, but still helping with overall wins. Putting that aside, though, Italy, I ask you this. Zach Wilson has played amazing yesterday, phenomenal. And there's now 4 games left in the Jets season for the Jets coming up. Again, they got Dolphins, they got the Commanders, they got the Browns and the Patriots. Those are final 4 for the Jets. If Zach Wilson continues to ball out, now maybe 300 yards every week is perhaps too aggressive, but still looks good, okay? If he looks good, you pick the options. It's a multiple choice question.
Okay.
Choice number 1, he simply increases his trade value and they still trade his ass in the offseason. This for Zach Wilson. So option number 1. Option number 2, he, like I said, the basis of this is he plays well these final games. He plays so well that the Jets bring him back as a backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers in 2024. That's how well that he plays. And then, of course, 3, is just ultimately they can't find a trade partner and they just cut him and he ends up signing with another team. Multiple choice question. What is most likely, in your opinion, of those 3, Zach Wilson? And again, all of it is under the basis that he's going to play well to end the year.
I think anything is possible with this team, and anything is possible. Oh, just like you said, I think with the Jets, it's like you never know what you're going to do at the end of the year, and you don't know what you're going to do going into next year. I think I'm going to go honestly with option A still. I think they're still going to trade him. Now, if he continues to play well and Aaron Rodgers has anything to say about it, then I think he's going to be back here next year. So I think it's all going to depend on what Aaron Rodgers wants and what Hackett wants. But I still think it's a trade.
Yeah, I mean, here's the part. I mean, after you see a Geno Smith happen, which obviously is a wild example to use, 10 years and then just finds his way and then he looks phenomenal. And I know he's injured right now, but come on, the story is the story. So the fear is with Zach Wilson's pops, you're like, man, if he was on a different team, would he be popping more consistently with the right coaching and the right everything?
Someone's
That's
going to bring him in. Someone's going to
oh
bring him
no, no,
in
no. There's no doubt
and
about
bring
it.
him a project. I mean, this is going to be it's going to be a
Right.
project, and with the right staff, I still think he's either going to be a good backup or he's going to be, or at least like, giving him a shot at a starting position because it's a project. A lot of coaches, I mean, that's just what it is, development and projects, and that could be interesting. I was thinking even like if the Rams traded for him, I was thinking
Sure.
that
Obviously, I don't know if he wants to get back with LaFleur, but maybe. I mean,
maybe
that's possible. The Athletic reported they kind of had a beefy
Buccaneers.
relationship, but
They did. So never mind.
somebody.
Take that out. Take that out
The,
then.
the Chiefs, Andy Reid's a former BYU guy. They don't seem to have that kind of player on the roster just to kind of develop behind the scenes with zero pressure. That could make a lot of sense. Now, here's my thing. I just feel like that the Jets are going to have three quarterbacks on the roster next season. Aaron Rodgers
Right.
is one of them, obviously. And the construct is probably proven veteran. Again, we'll get into that in the offseason. We don't have to
Right.
debate that now, but proven veteran. There's going to be some names out there.
Yeah.
And then a third guy that is some level of young and developing. It's probably a rookie, but it
I
could
think it's going to be a draft pick. 100%.
Yeah, I do as well. But I guess there's an outside chance that third-ish guy could be Zach Wilson. And then he's fully insulated to do what you said he was going to do this past season or the season that we're in, excuse me. Zach Wilson, you're not going to play. You're going to watch Aaron Rodgers all year. And then one injury, and then he's playing. So they didn't think that playing out very thoroughly because if they wanted to guarantee as much as they could, injuries pending that he could, if Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers got hurt, there's a next guy to go to, and Zach Wilson could still watch and observe. They did not do that for obvious reasons. We all know how everything played out. But I think that may be an outside possibility that he plays so well that the Jets bring him back as QB3, but still bring back a proven veteran. But here's the thing. The Jets or a team that trades for him would have to make a decision on his fifth-year option in May, which will likely be declined, all things considered. I don't
Right.
imagine them picking up that, which would make 2024 a contract year for Zach Wilson, which means your last chance to trade him, in theory, is coming up this offseason. Because if you don't, then he will just walk out your door as a street free agent. So that's another part of this as they're evaluating the picture of what could be happening here. Again, I've appreciated the pops, but on the other token, he's been one of the least productive quarterbacks of all time. So it's weighing a lot of things there. I think like a lot of people, I will say this, the same thing you said about the playoffs, you go, Paul, let's punt this to next week and the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins, of course, are 9-3. And
Exactly.
you win that one. All of a sudden we're like, okay, things just got serious because then you have Commanders, Browns, and Patriots to finish the season. All of a sudden, that looks a lot more gettable with the Dolphins win in your back pocket. And in the same token with the Zach Wilson thing, if he lights it up against the Dolphins, we're like, whoa, this is 2 in a row. Wait a second. Whoa, wait it in there, Nelly. All of a sudden, things get a little froggy. So for me, you said ultimately, I think he gets traded. I do as well. I do think,
still think
almost
that
regardless.
yeah,
Again, if he starts over 400 yards, like, okay, maybe there's a conversation to be had. But I think with maybe a random 300 pop, so like we got 4 games left, he has another 300 pop in there or something, and then he's hovering around what he's always been, which is 200 and change and the same basic kind of numbers, then, but if he explodes, he explodes. So we'll see. But either way, it's fun to even be having this conversation and that we didn't have to have 4 or 5, well, even more than that, because Boy Green Daily is literally every day, but all these tankathon conversations, it feels good to talk about a win, Victory Monday for all you crazy Jet fans out there, and we're talking playoffs. Playoffs, yes.
It's one of those things where it's all going to see what happens at the end of the season. It's all going to come down to this Dolphins game. It's the 5th. I think just like Matthias said in the comment, if we do trade him, it easily could be somewhere between a 4th, 5th, and 6th round pick. That's what I'm thinking. If this is going to happen, especially if he puts up over 200, 300 yards each game going forward.
Yeah, it could be.
I just think that it's Zach Wilson's going to come to the point. If, like I said, if he does do what I think he's going to do, he's not going to want to be a backup. He's not
Yeah.
going to want to be.
You'd probably want to compete, I would imagine.
He's going to want to compete.
But will a team do that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure in his next spot if he's a guaranteed competition guy. I'm not sure. I think probably, well, again, it depends on the team. I can't prognosticate because you just don't know where he goes. Does he go to some crappy team where he's immediately competing for QB1, or does he go to a team, as I mentioned, like the Chiefs, where the QB1 is not in question, but you're just in the room? So TBD and all that. But I will say,
let's take it week by week, right?
Yeah,
week
of course.
by week.
Of course. Yeah.
Everything is always week by week. You never know what he's going to do against on Sunday.
Of course, right. So Rich Samini wrote in his column on Sunday that an NFL personnel executive told him that he believes Zach Wilson could fetch a 5th-round draft choice. So we have a full article on Heavy on Jets if you guys would like to check that out on the latest reporting on the Zach Wilson trade scenario. 2 things before we finish up here. NY Jets FL brought in, Paul, did your dad buy his ticket to Vegas yet? Of course, he's referencing my father, who is a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, and they just came off an absolute blood down beatdown of the Philadelphia Eagles last night. And I will say this, taking, again, Boy Green Daily Jet Show, taking a step back, I think the Cowboys are going to be in the thick of this thing to win the Super Bowl. Of course, the one path, if those do cross, is the San Francisco 49ers, who gave the Cowboys the business in that game in San Francisco. So that's their one bugaboo, but I like them against Philly. They actually do play Detroit during the regular season, so they'll get their test of the metal of the NFC. Before the season over, they play the Bills, obviously. So you're going to have some nice challenges. So I'm kind of curious to see. But they're probably one of my betting favorites to win the Super Bowl. My own personal, not Vegas, but my own personal betting favorites of teams. I just like their moxie. I like the cut of their jib. Dak Prescott's in the MVP conversation. Defense is wild. Yeah, man. The Cowboys will be pretty high up there. So my dad hasn't seen a significant playoff run since 1995 when I was 2 years old, and the Cowboys went to win their last Super Bowl.
Yeah, they've been through the ringer.
That they have. So I will be rooting for my father. The Jets have already played the Cowboys, so we saw that win. I was there in person. But I
don't even like the Cowboys.
Yeah, so I will be rooting for my father. If the Jets don't make the playoffs, I'll be the biggest Cowboys fan for him and hoping they make a crazy run for my dad because he is as diehard as it gets from a Cowboys perspective.
Gotta love that, right? Gotta love a diehard fan.
All right. Well, Italy, set us up. What do you have cooking this week, brother?
Later on today, the Jets flight squad with Gunny Gumby and DKBX Jets. I got everything NYJ later tonight. And then check out the Jets Evening Brew on Wednesday night with Jigga Man Porto with the open panel. Come roll on through as we talk Dolphins and just this whole craziness with Zach Wilson and this dang team. But overall, hey, me and you, we do this every Monday morning. Always a pleasure. And week by week, day by day, even hour and minute. Every hour, every minute, there's always something that the Jets are going to do to their fans to make us go crazy. So, ciao, guys.
Hey, by the way, before we get out, Italy, what Jet jersey do you have on?
Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I love the Jets. It's LT.
Okay, wait. Okay, I was about to say. I was about to guess when I saw the number. I'm a big LT guy. I got one of those in the closet. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to. eBay, $20, couldn't pass it up.
Wow, what a deal. There you go. LT, baby. One of my favorite short-time Jets of all time. I understand you have to put those kind of players in other categories, but he was as a former running back, and then idolizing that guy, and then for him to come to the Jets, I was like, no friggin' way. So I proudly have that jersey in the closet. So great choice, Italy. Good taste. You have great taste. I've never questioned that, but it's now more secure. It is now more secure. Guys, Ryan Delaney of Jets Talk 24/7. He's doing the Roundtable Sports and all that other crazy stuff as well. He'll be joining us tomorrow morning at 7:30 for Boy Green Daily. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Enjoy, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy this Victory Monday. I said it in the middle of the winning streak earlier this season, and obviously I mean it even more now. You never know when the wins are going to come. So savor it. We were just in a 5-game losing streak. Savor the hell out of this win. Walk with a little Conor McGregor walk at work today. When you go into the coffee machine, you're grabbing a mug. Just give a little bit of this. And people are like, what's going on? You're like, the Jets are what's going on. Get out of my face. Do a little bit of that action. Have a little chutzpah. Have a little juice. That's what I'm talking about. So
get a fake cigar or something.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Get a fake cigar. Tell them to blow me. That's what I want you to do. There you go. So enjoy it, people. Enjoy this dub, and hopefully we stack up another one next week against the Fish. Again, we will have Brian Miller later this week, my good Dolphins buddy. I'm ready to get that Dolphins taste out of the mouth from the Hail Murray or whatever we're calling that stupid thing. So we have some demons to exercise, but more of that later this week. Looking forward to it. Thanks,
Have a
brother.
good one, guys.
All right. See ya. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30.